Hey, y'all. Welcome to the Business of Gaming podcast. I'm Josh with Game Haven Guild, and today I'm with Garrett and Laura, the owners of Meeples Games in Seattle, Washington. Tell us about the origins of the store.
We opened in May of 2017. No, sorry,
2014.
May 17th of 2014. So we've been just over 11 years. We've been in this location the whole time, and we're doing great.
Can you tell us about the mix of your store assortment as well as the cafe?
I like to call us a comprehensive game store in that we have a little bit of everything. We have board games and card games and puzzles and stuffies and incidental toys and things. We have Magic and Pokemon. We have,
Wargaming stuff, right?
Yep.
So miniatures, we have RPGs, we have a used game section. Like you mentioned, we have a cafe. So, you can spend the whole afternoon here.
What made you decide to start a store?
So I came out of software. I was a director of test engineering for a large company, a division of a large company. And that's a tough job. And I did it for a long time. And I didn't want to do it anymore. And I've been playing games since I was very small. This is how my parents kept us from killing each other. And then Garrett and I played games. It became a hobby when I discovered the Euro-style games. And then I just decided I didn't want to do that anymore. I wanted to have a game store. So, and I wanted to build the store that I wanted to go to. Because a lot of stores were dark, or they were condescending, or they didn't have anything to eat, or it wasn't light enough for me to see the cards. I just incorporated all those things into this space. And it took about 2 years from the time I decided I wanted to do it to actually opening.
And why this location?
We wanted to be in West Seattle. I did scope out other neighborhoods and possible areas to open. I didn't want to directly compete with any other stores. So I lived in Lake City, and I didn't want to compete with Gary's, which was our game store. And then right after we opened, they closed. So we could have been up there, but we wanted to be in West Seattle. We looked around a lot. There was a lot of construction happening. They tore down a bunch of old buildings, so a lot of retail space was lost at the time that we were looking. And when we found this space, even though it's upstairs, even though it's off the beaten path a little bit, the light is amazing. And the ceilings are high, and the space fit for what we needed it to be. And so we picked it.
And we wanted West Seattle because it's very residential. There's a lot of families, lots of kids here. But not only that, that's not unique to many parts of Seattle, but it's very isolated. A lot of people in West Seattle don't really leave West Seattle, so we kind of have them captive here.
What were your initial expectations for the store right when you opened?
I expected it to be really awful for the first year or so. That's when you're figuring out what people want and catering to who your customers really are. Like, you go into it, we had defined who we thought our customers were. We have personas and all the thing for all the customers, but the reality is different than that. Actually, it's not too different than what we thought. We still have the same 3 core.
Personas are right. What they want is not what we guessed, right? Or like in different proportions to what we guessed.
We had defined our customers as the serious hobby gamer. Those are the Magic players, the Pokemon players, the Warhammer players, those people who that's their hobby. The board game players a little bit. And then families, kids and parents, groups of kids, and then casual gamers who are, groups of friends who come as an activity instead of going to a bar or something like that.
Couples who are looking for something to do at home, right? Things like that.
What did you do to initially build your store community?
I did a lot of stuff around, I joined the Chamber of Commerce right away. I got involved in as much community stuff as I could. We had a lot of social media. We were using Twitter at the time. It was called Twitter then. We still call it Twitter because I'm old. Facebook. We did a little thing where I had a little stuffed Will Wheaton, who was up there on the shelf. And we took him around West Seattle and took pictures of him everywhere. We did a International Tabletop Day event at the bathhouse on Alki because we were not open yet. And we had so many people. We advertised that everywhere. And we had probably 300 or 400 people over the course of 5 or 6 hours at the bathhouse on Tabletop Day.
We had a big open, the bathhouse is a rentable, like open community space. And we just had it open. We were doing game demos. We had a bunch of people that we had signed up to volunteer and help us out, a lot of our friends. So you could come in and learn like 10 different games and get a flyer. And
we gave away so much cool stuff.
I think, and when we opened, I remember a lot of people were like, "Oh, we saw you at the bathhouse." In fact, the other day, a gentleman came in and he was like, "I was one of your volunteers at the bathhouse," and it was cool.
Looking back at the beginning of the business, what has worked well or maybe not worked well and had to change over time?
The game library, the way we do the game library was the way we did it at the very beginning, and we continue to do it this way. And I think that was a big win for us, and I will die on that hill. And that is the game library is behind the counter. So when people want to borrow a game, they have to come and talk to us. And that does a few different things. Number one, we get to have an interaction with a human being and, make them feel great and welcomed and heard. And secondly, we get to pair them with a game that fits. It fits their group. If it's a parents and 2 kids and there's a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old, we offer them Forbidden Island, a cooperative game where the 11-year-old doesn't get upset because the 7-year-old got help. Everybody's on the same team.
Left to their own devices in that situation, the 7-year-old's going to see like the Marvel Crisis Protocol and be like, "I want to play that." And then it's going to be a nightmare scenario for the family as they wade through a 40-page rule book.
So we have to pair people with the game that's appropriate for what they want, what their skill level is. We ask a series of questions and that makes them happy. We want to delight our customers. We want them to have a great time and come back.
We want to get to know them.
And we want them to buy that game and take it home. That's the ultimate goal. Buy that game and take it home, please.
What did your digital presence look like when you first opened?
We had a website quite a long time before we opened. I was using it, the blog portion of that, to just, now I have purchased all the kitchen equipment and this is what I got. And today I went to the Chamber of Commerce meeting and met all these people and, construction's starting and, just trying to get people to be interested in what was happening and when we were going to open. So we did a lot of that. When we first opened, we did have an online store, but what I found is that nobody ever bought anything from our online store because we can't compete on price. Why would you buy it from me when you can buy it from Amazon for 20% less or more? So we kind of dropped that. But then when the pandemic happened, everything changed immediately. And so we spun up an online store really quickly and
Or curbside pickup.
For
a while there, we couldn't have anybody in the store. We set that up and it was really successful. It was like we were able to run a lot of business through there for I can't remember how many months we weren't allowed to have people in. But it was good. That was a big pivot for us. And we still have it open now. It does limited numbers, but we get a non-zero amount of people using it to check stock, which is valuable for them. And occasionally we sell something.
How has the in-store experience changed since you opened?
I think that it is subtly changed in a lot of ways. The percentage of different categories that we have is different. We have leaned in quite a bit to the tactical miniatures and modeling supplies.
And the TCGs from like when we started, right? I think when we started, I think your vision was a lot more like game store, board game store, cafe.
I did not want to be a Magic store. I did not want to have the bros playing Yu-Gi-Oh. I didn't want that.
But I think
It was short-sighted.
I think what we've realized is that a lot of those like negative personas that were that she had like sort of ingrained in her mind came from other game stores that weren't our store. And like we have a hand in sculpting the community, you know, and I think we've sort of done that. And I think we have a very non-toxic community across like all of our games that we run. And I think that is something I'm super proud of. But not to get too far afield here, but the TCGs was a big change. We really have come a long way. That's like, you know, approximately like a third of our business now is TCGs of all types. And I don't think that was where we expected to be when we set off on the journey. I think something similar is true of, especially more recently, what you were saying about tactical miniatures and wargaming. That has also sort of exploded in the last, 3 years, 2 years?
So that percentage of what we carry and how we present it has changed a lot.
How has your marketing strategies changed over time?
Because we're and this is true for every game store, right? I am not advertising to all of Seattle. Sometimes I do because you kind of can't avoid it, but I'm not going to get somebody who goes to, Mox Boarding House in Bellevue or Ballard to come here, except unless they want to play one of our games and come play Warhammer or something like that. So the challenge is finding advertising and marketing opportunities that are very neighborhood specific. So we do a lot of things like we put ads in the playbook or the playbills for the theater, the little
Arts West,
our little neighborhood play kind of thing. We do things with the high school on their sports calendars. We put an ad in the yearbook, that kind of stuff. Although nobody ever looks at those. I just do it to give them money. But we have a commercial, a professionally done commercial that runs at the movie theater, our neighborhood movie theater, the Admiral up the street, Go Admiral, and it runs before every single movie. We're West Seattle famous.
For this kind of location, I guess it's good to be neighborhood famous.
It is. And that's kind of our thing. We're very friendly and family friendly, and everybody is welcome. And that's on purpose because, like I said, many of the game stores that I had gone to, trying to buy a game or get something to eat and play, they're a little condescending. And I didn't like that. I wanted it to be family friendly. I wanted to be able to go with my kid and be comfortable. And again, the lighting, that's important to me. I need to be able to see my cards. And so we're very neighborhood and family friendly. While we still support the serious hobby gamers and the Warhammer people and the Magic players and
it's not mutually exclusive.
Right.
We can do both.
Tell us about the cafe. What was the inspiration for the food and drink options?
Our menu has changed quite a bit since we started.
Yes.
But menus change. We evolve into what people want.
Our equipment has changed as well.
It's changed. Our original vision was food that you could eat that wasn't messy while you're playing your game. A little something for everyone. I definitely wanted to have beer because, I want to have beer while I'm playing my game. I wanted, we have to have coffee. This is Seattle. We have to have a selection of beverages for non-alcoholic beverages. So we had those. But we had things like plates to share, veggies and hummus. And, we had nachos and Tex-Mex for a while. But now we have burgers and sandwiches and salads. And the hot pretzel has been here the entire time.
The hot pretzel has stood the test of time.
Hot pretzel and beer cheese.
How did you decide how much space to dedicate to the cafe versus the store versus the playing space?
I worked with an architect at the beginning. So we had this space. Actually, they gave us a kind of a rough layout before I signed a lease, because that was part of the decision process is, are we going to be able to do what we need to do in this space? So the layout is kind of dictated by the size of the space and where things already were, because we built this kitchen. It didn't exist before. store.
This was a gym.
It was a gym. Yeah. And that was, I don't remember what was there. Oh, it was just open there. So we didn't move the bathrooms. Those are where they were. But everything else we built. A little change of the layout. If I could do it again, we've learned some things and I might make it a little different. But having the separate cafe space and our tournament space in the other side over there, we call it the Thunderdome. And that's where we run, Magic tournaments and Warhammer Night and things like that, Pokemon, those all happen over there. And then our retail space in the front, the division of the product that's over here and the product that's over there has changed quite a bit.
Definitely. I think the separation of the cafe and the seating in the cafe versus the event seating is pretty critical because it allows you to do something like Friday Night Magic or running an RCQ on the weekend and not have it take over your entire store, right? Like we still have the cafe. We can still pair somebody up with a game from the library and sit them down and we can sell that game and we can do both things. Is it chaotic? Totally. That's how it is when you've got 100 people in the store. But being able to do both and not sacrifice one for the other, I think, makes a big difference.
The store is very bright, as you mentioned. It's how you wanted it. Is this the same atmosphere you had when you first started, or has it changed over time?
It has changed over time because how could it not? But we still have what I was basically going for at the beginning. I wanted it to be warm and inviting and cozy a little bit, not garish colors, not, neon green and bright orange. Those are, it's warmer. We have a lot of wood. The choice of this, we had these built, of course, this color, it all kind of goes together with the original vision.
Yeah, I would say that over the 11 years, like she said, it's basically the same, right? Like all of our core principles are the same, except with we originally had a bunch of cool, like old mismatched, like kitchen tables that were various size dining room tables. They were big and long, and they were honestly really great. But they were starting to fall apart, and we had to replace them. So now we have the uniform tables, and these are great too because we can rearrange them and we can mix and match them to various tabletop sizes. So that's like maybe the biggest thing that's changed, like vibe wise. But the thing that I wanted to say is that I don't know if you set out for it to be this way, but the thing that I've noticed that's the biggest change from then to now is that it feels so much more homey in here now because we've collected 11 years worth of things we've decided to keep, right? Knickknacks that now live on the shelf, or a poster from the pre-release from 7 years ago that was too cool to get rid of, right? All that stuff makes it feel lived in. All that stuff makes it unique.
The store's about 3,500 square feet. Do you think this is still the right size? Or if you were starting over, would you look for something different?
We could definitely use more space.
More seating space, more shelving space, just more space, bigger. Yeah. And our store's big. Like, I don't think it's small, really, by any means.
What numbers or metrics are you looking at to know if the business is healthy or not?
We have put a lot of effort into working on the business and really diving into our numbers and trying to mine the data. We have all this data, mine the data to tell us things that are important that help us grow the business. One of the things that we found is that people who play in events spend more money, just in general. And over the 10, 11 years that we've been open out in the game community, I know a lot of game store owners around the country. I'm in some groups of people who are very successful, and I feel very lucky to be connected with them. And there was this butts in seats concept when we first opened that was all about organized play, butts in seats, and snacks and drinks. But we have this cafe model, which is slightly different. Actually, it's very different. But then here in the middle of that 5 or 10 years, halfway through, they were like, no, it's not butts in seats. That's not what is driving our business. But we found that for us, it kind of is. And so we've kind of reverted to, we do want to run more events. We do want people to come and play here because those people become our customers and their lifetime value is higher.
I think part of that is that the people who are participating in events are people who have sort of made it their hobby, right? So they're sort of invested already. We can't get them to invest because we made it awesome, or if we can provide an appealing space for somebody who's already decided to invest, I mean, that's potentially a valuable customer.
What has been the biggest surprise in running this business for the last 11 years?
So it's not really, there are two answers to the question. The first one is not really about the business so much as it is about our aura of the business. And that is that we, again, it's been 11 years and we had a lot of kids come. We have a lot of kids come here and we go out and do things at school. So we have a lot of kids. And now we have 4 people who work for us who were coming here when they were kids. And it's like we're just so ingrained in the community here that they grew up playing their games here and coming with their families and playing Magic and playing Pokemon. And, now they're playing Warhammer and they work for us. And I just am so proud of that. And that they liked it so much that, they want to work here. And that we have some who've been here. We have staff who've been here for 6, 7, 8 years, long time. And that I think reflects well on us as well because we are excellent employers.
I think the surprise from the business standpoint is what's happened with Pokemon and collectibles over the last 2 years has been really interesting to watch. Can't imagine it being completely sustainable. And now that behavior has totally moved to Magic as well. We're seeing collector booster displays just bought out immediately. There's a store in Seattle that pre-sold their Spider-Man collector boosters at $850 and sold them out. I'm not going to name names, but that's an insane price point to sell or buy something at, in my opinion. I think that's insane. But Magic's insane right now.
Is really kind of a problem.
They've pumped the brakes on production, which I think in some ways is good. But we've got an issue now, and I'm curious to see what happens with that. Because I think it's going to have, depending on where we go from here, where Magic goes from here, where Pokemon goes from here, that could really affect our business in the next 2 or 3 years. If the bottom falls out on Pokemon and the people just move on, that's going to have an impact on game stores across the country. Same thing with Magic. And you can say it's Magic. It's been around for forever. That could never happen. But
yeah, the availability of product is either having a positive impact or a negative impact. I think it's having a negative impact for us.
Well, in the short term, it's positive, right? I mean, anytime you sell all of something that you get in, that's positive, right? That's never bad. I would wonder if the negative becomes when you consistently don't have product on your shelves and the mom and kid come in to pick up their Pokemon packs and they fail 6 times in a row. At a certain point, the kid is going to move on from Pokemon and find a new thing. And if that happens en masse, you're going to end up with a generation of kids that don't have nostalgia for the product. And that is what keeps the ball rolling on Pokemon for 30 years, So we'll see what happens.
Well, one of the things we do to kind of mitigate that is because of the scarcity of the Pokemon product, we get as much as we can possibly get, but it's immediately gone. So if I had booster displays of packs, they would be immediately gone. So we hold stuff back to sell to children because they're children and it's a game for children. It's also a collectible, that's huge, but it's a game for kids. And we have been running Pokemon here the entire time. Pokemon training camp. We have a bajillion kids. You want to talk about chaos. Come on a Sunday, it's chaos. But we have packs for them still. We hide them away so that we have product for those kids.
There's actually a neighborhood labor drought on chores going on the last 2 years because the lack of Pokemon packs is really causing the kids doing chores market to drive to a halt.
What advice would you have for someone looking to start their own gaming business now based on your experience?
I would change how the cafe works a little bit. Our menu is pretty like restaurant and less cafe, and I would probably move more into the cafe part and less restaurant part because it's very labor intensive. The majority of our labor goes to the cafe, but the majority of our revenue comes from the store. And there's this symbiotic relationship between the two. If we didn't have the cafe, we wouldn't have as much business in the store, and that's part of the business model. But the way that I want everybody to be able to eat and get fair pay, being able to afford that here in Seattle has been a challenge because that game costs the same in Kentucky as it does here in Seattle. But the
Cost of living is very high.
cost of living is twice as high and the wages are twice as high. And, you know, again, that's good. I want people to eat, but we have to be able to pay the rent as well. So the onus is on us to sell way more to be able, like our revenue has to go up and up and up and up and up, which it does. Our revenue is really increasing, you know, double digits year over year consistently. But then the
Costs are
wages
chasing us.
do the same thing.
They're chasing right
Yeah.
after us. I think it's location. Location. I mean, it's so cliche, but it's so true. I mean, I'm incredibly proud of our business. I think we do an awesome job. I think we could do half as awesome a job and be on the ground floor in a busy place and do just as well. I hate to say that, but I think it's true.
We have to work a lot harder because of where we are.
Being on the second floor, like you said, we're kind of tucked away. We're a hidden gem, if you will, right? But being on the ground floor of a place where a lot of people are going to walk past, I mean, that's what you want, you know? We don't get a lot of walk-by business. We are a destination. People come to us for stuff, and we're a very successful destination. But it would be awesome to just, let's go in there.
Yeah, we don't have that walk by. So we have to work really hard to get people to come here.
Laura, Garrett, thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. This has been great.